What's up, YouTube? It is your girl Latrina, and I am back again today with another tarot spread read. Starting off, we do get the Sun in the reverse. That could be speaking of a lack of clarity, or it can also be speaking of someone being discontented, in discontentment, someone that's not happy, the Sun. And then we get the Lost card in the reverse. And this comes out as the Five of Cups. And it's showing an individual that went through some kind of loss. And it says Mars and Scorpio. But in the reverse, this does speak of a gain, some kind of gain. Something was gained that's not being clear, there's no clarification about this gain. And then we get the message of the warrant for arrest with the card that says a basket with two handles can be carried by two. So that tells me that there may be two individuals that may have a warrant out for their arrest, which did dampen the situation, and it put someone's sunlight out, someone's lights are out when we're speaking about this warrant for arrest. And then we get the anger card coming out in this first row, which, everything that comes out in the first row, it tells me that it is the main topic of the spread. And so it looks like the main topic is there's someone's lights that been put out. Maybe, the clarity. The sun has left their life. And I'm assuming that, this sun can be depicting of their joy, their vitality, their livelihood. Because whenever you get the sun in the reverse, that does speak of clarity, and it does speak of strength and all of the things that the sun does provide for us on a daily basis. I'm assuming maybe someone is not free, to get any sun whenever you have a warrant for your arrest because of something that they gained. And it also has someone angry because we got the anger card coming out also in that very first row. The topic is about this warrant that someone has for their arrest because of something that they gained. And it's left them with no hope. When you see that sun in the reverse, there's been no clarity, no communication, and no clarity. I'm assuming, whenever I see that sun in the reverse, I'm trying to remember everything that the sun does aspect in it. Because we do get the Queen of Swords coming out in that second row, along with the Knight of Wands. And then we get the signs of life in the reverse, which does confirm that sun being in the reverse. And it says everything ancient is to be respected. And no signs of life. And we have this baby card coming out in this second row. And I attempted to do a read yesterday or a couple days ago, and I got that baby card. And I really didn't even post the read because I wasn't really comfortable with doing the read. But it looks like maybe someone is being questioned, probably about something that was done repeatedly, with this Knight of Wands showing up. And whatever actions that were repeatedly done that maybe did produce a child, or it had something to do with the child, now someone is now showing no signs of life whenever you get that in the reverse. Anger. And that Queen of Swords, she usually, she when she comes out in the upright, she usually does represent, some kind of counsel, or somebody maybe pleading their case about a baby, or someone may be explaining something to a Queen of Sword about a baby, and about some type of things that were done routinely, regularly done. Um, or maybe something has been found, because whenever you get that whenever that loss is in the reverse, it does have an opposite meaning of found. Something's been found. And then if you can see, this guy is even looking up under things. It looks like he's in search of something. He's looking for something. Maybe someone found something that they were once, in the dark about. Something was found that was a dark, matter. Something so dark that now, whatever these in and out continuous actions that were being taken by this Knight of Wands, this in and out stuff, it was dark. It was a very dark situation. And it actually did produce a warrant for someone's arrest from these dark actions that were taken. And now they're now having to plead their case before this Queen of Swords. And it's even left them with no signs of life. And I'm hoping that they're not speaking about this baby that has no signs of life. Because something was found. Maybe whatever was found that did, put a warrant out for someone's arrest had something to do with a baby. And this, whatever dark actions that were taken, probably against this baby or against, I'm not seeing any characters on the spread right now except for this Knight of Wands. And I didn't even take that energy as an individual. I took it as a description of, the actions of an individual that were dark. These dark actions that were describing, it had something to do with a baby. And these actions were regularly taken upon this baby. And it had someone fuming mad, very angry. Whenever you see that anger card popping out in the spread, they were angry about whatever was found out about this baby, and whatever darkness that was done upon this child or this baby. Or I don't even know if this was about, something being done to a baby. I pray to God not. I'm going to change the direction of this reading by just saying that these actions were pretty dark. Whatever this Knight of Wands energy is bringing to the spread, it's really dark because the sun comes out in the reverse. And, usually you might say that the sun means clarification, in the simplest form. But to me, it means light. It brings the light. Ooh, and these dark actions, we got this devil coming out in the reverse. Somebody was freed from something. And then you get this page of pentacles coming out. Now, this does represent another child. Whenever you see these pages, they can represent a child or even a message. So maybe this is a message about a child and about something that was dark. Whenever you see this devil coming out, and sometimes this devil can mean that you have, this can mean addictions and bondages and things like that. And when it comes out in the reverse, I always assume that it does speak of freedom, a loss of power, a loss of control. The devil has lost control of this situation. And I'm assuming the loss of control is directly regarding this message, and someone was or feels foolish about these in and out actions, about these constant activity that was dark. Someone feels foolish about this money card that does show up in this third row. And by these actions being done routinely and needing to be explained, someone's having to explain themselves about these dark actions. And it's left someone with no signs of life. No signs of life. And left to feel foolish at this time. Because it says, better one living word than 100 dead ones. So maybe 100 dead ones and one living word. And then the sign, no signs of life and darkness. And I'm assuming whatever energy that I'm picking up on today is directly regarding something about some money and some darkness. And it's extreme darkness. And whatever was found out by this Queen of Swords, because she's asking questions. This Queen of Swords is asking questions about these routine actions that were taken upon someone. And it may have left somebody, without any signs of life, from what the read does say. And then we get two depictions of two children right in these first three rows, because we got the baby card there. And then we have a page here, a page of pentacles. And it's funny that this page comes out right with this money card, because in the traditional tarot, the page usually, he's staring at that coin. Whenever you see him coming out in the regular tarot deck, that page is captivated by that coin. And now I'm assuming that whatever these actions that are being brought before this Queen of Swords, or whatever this Queen of Swords is wanting to know, she's demanding. And then these actions, like I said, they were really dark. I don't know how else to put that. So dark that they made somebody want to fight. Somebody was that mad. And it brought them to the place of war. They wanted to wage war upon this Knight of Wands, or upon these actions, upon an individual responsible for maybe the actions that was taken against these children or this child. Someone now actively has a warrant out for their arrest. And either they did gain something because, like I said, they were, we got that money card coming out here, and then we got this gain or even something found. I'm thinking that this was a found item because he's directly looking for something in the very card, you know. Something was found which has led to a warrant for someone's arrest. And it may be two individuals because this card speaks of two people that did these dark actions that produced a warrant out for their arrest. And it also produced some kind of gain, you know, and that something was found out about these dark actions that these two individuals did. Something was found out, and it had to be brought before the queen they had to explain. And then we get the Two of Cups coming out in the fourth row, which, this can be depicting someone offering someone a cup, and maybe that was a part of the dark actions, this cup. And then we got the Ace of Wands also showing up in that fourth row, which, seeing this Ace of Wands, it can, be a brand new passionate beginning in love. And then when you see these Two of Cups coming out with it, it kind of confirms it. Because we then next get the Pill Popper card coming out in that fourth row, which it says, those who makes the first bad move always lose the game. So I'm assuming that someone made a bad move whenever we are discussing this issue here. Something that was found produced a warrant for someone's arrest, and it was dark. It was extreme darkness involved in that. And then we get the Milady card in the reverse, which to me does speak of recovery. Someone then trying to recover something. And something about this pill popping. Someone was a pill popper in this situation. And maybe that was the very thing that they were doing over and over, popping pills over and over and over. And I don't see the importance of that coming out in the read, so I'm assuming that it's not a big deal because people pop pills all the time. They prescribe them and people take them. And then we get the Seven of Wands coming out in that fifth row, which does speak of, a need to protect yourself because you're being attacked. Someone's being attacked with this card. And whatever kind of form of attack that was being done on an individual, we get the Wheel of Fortune on it, which means everything comes right back around whenever I see that Wheel of Fortune. And someone's luck has probably changed. This individual that was being attacked, their luck has changed due to this Wheel of Fortune. But it comes out in the reverse. So this brings bad karma to the attackers, That Wheel of Fortune brings in a round of fire for whomever was attacking this individual. And then it says, luck and bad luck drive the same sled. So that does confirm that Wheel of Fortune has brought in, some bad luck upon these individuals that was attacking one person. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6 weapons of destruction at this individual, these wands, 6 of them. And this guy is fighting them all off. He's having to protect himself from these 7 wands, or 6 wands, because he's the one that's holding the 7. This Wheel of Fortune shows up in the reverse. So that means that, it's almost symbolic to judgment to me. Because whenever, and it's going to be about karma, judgment, cycles and circles, and, things that have been persistent, there's been a change. And that 10 brings in that change also. Whatever this pair did, that was extremely dark. Bad luck drive on the same sled as good luck, Because then we do get the fortune card showing up in the reverse, along with the Wheel of Fortune showing up in the reverse. So whatever attacks this person was under, their luck has changed, and it's not changed for the good, because we get both of these in the reverse, which is the Wheel of Fortune, and we also get the Fortune card in the reverse. So that's a misfortune, the Wheel of Fortune and misfortune coming right out in that 5th row. And this very last row in the back, I just kept whatever cards did fall upon the floor, because that's how they do. They just pop out, and then you can take them or leave them. And so what I did was I took all of them, and this comes out, which is the Emperor. The Emperor comes out in that last row, and then we get the Work card, which is the 8 of Pentacles, something that was worked by this Emperor. And then we get the Suspension in the reverse, which does tell me something has been free, or either something was found in the first row. Oh my, and then we get the Empress in the reverse, coming out in the very same row with the Emperor. And I'm assuming they're for sure, this is the couple here. This is the couple that worked on something. They had something suspended. Okay, this couple, this Emperor and this reverse Empress, they worked on something, which was to actually have something in suspension. But by it coming out in the reverse, that means it has been released. Something's been released. And it's confirmation. Thank you for that, because these reads are hard. Using these new cards, I'm trying my hardest to get through, because it's not that easy. And then we get the Revolution card coming out in the reverse. And I think that this was the, I forget what this card was in the traditional tarot, but it's the Revolution card, and it looks like all out war. There's fire, and there's even people. It says defend the sacred. It looks like they're trying to destroy this whole entire, you know, community. This community has been destroyed by fire. And even they have like machines, that's causing this. It's deliberate, is what I'm trying to say. A deliberate destruction. And I don't know if this is the tarot. I mean the Tower card. But no, this is not the Tower. This is just destruction for something that was suspended and now freed, because it did come out in the reverse. Something's been freed from this couple, showing up as the Emperor and the Empress. And the very last card is the Eight of Swords. And it says restriction. And then doubling back on that worn out for the arrest, I'm assuming that this is the outcome from all this darkness and from this work and from even that group attack. Someone was being jumped with them six swords coming, six staffs coming at them. They had to defend themselves. Restriction.